OpenAI in 2019.
We're going to find a cure for cancer in 5 years.
OpenAI 5 years later.
How about Sora for now? It makes cool videos.
Here's the question. How can AI disrupt almost all job markets while also losing billions of dollars at the same time? Big tech companies say they're replacing humans with AI to save money. So how does that make sense? Microsoft's AI boss, Mustafa Suleyman, says AI can replace every white-collar job in 18 months.
Most, if not all, professional tasks. So white-collar work where you're sitting down at a computer, either being, a lawyer or an accountant or a project manager or a marketing person, most of those tasks will be fully automated by an AI within the next 12 to 18 months.
And this caused a lot of backlash online.
You first.
Remind me in 18 months.
Yeah, he won't be there 18 months.
Oh, look, the schmuck who doesn't even code but gives PowerPoint presentations.
Yeah, he's bullshitting on the timeline hard. This is classic hype from an executive whose entire job is to pump Microsoft AI products and secure billions from investors. Same playbook we've seen from every AI chief since 2023. But hey, this is his job. Nobody can predict the future. But if what he says is true, that we are all going to be unemployed, then who is going to buy their products if no one has a job anymore? Anyway, I don't know about the future. Right now, the truth is that while AI helps make some jobs easier, when compared to a human, it performs worse a whopping 97% of the time, which basically means that if you give an AI 10 tasks, it will perform at least 9 of them worse than when compared to a human. That's at least according to a new study.
A lot of guys who work at tech companies and have access to all the latest models from OpenAI and Anthropic say that whichever AI they use, it has failed to impress them, and the changes it proposes break more stuff than they fix. You're a staff engineer, and a dev brings you a backend bug after vibe coding with Claude. Now you have to read everything it generated, make sure it works, check edge cases, match coding style, ensure reliability, and verify it didn't hallucinate. You usually end up rewriting a good chunk of it. This sucks because auditing code is much more mentally draining than writing it. Now, that is only if a developer uses AI for 2 lines of code snippets. Imagine giving AI the task of building an entire piece of software, taking existing input files, databases, APIs, and producing a finished, bug-free product. Now, that is exactly what a team of researchers did. They measured whether AI agents can actually perform complete, economically valuable professional jobs, not just tasks like solving a math problem or writing a single function of code. There's this special benchmark called the Remote Labor Index. It's a data set of 240 real-world projects across 23 categories. Stuff like architecture, graphic design, data analysis, and legal research, taken from freelancer platforms like Upwork and Fiverr. For each project, the AI gets the original client brief along with all the required input files. On average, each project is worth about $633. The AI also has to deal with over 70 different file types, from CAD drawings and 3D models to videos and spreadsheets. The goal is simple. The AI has to produce a final result that meets a professional standard, basically something a real client would actually pay for. So how did they actually perform? Honestly, not well. Even one of the most advanced frontier models, Claude 4.5, struggled badly, achieving only about a 4% success rate when it came to producing work of acceptable quality. That means the best performing model still failed roughly 96% of the time. Interestingly, Gemini performed even worse, with a success rate of around 1.25%. Even if newer versions like Claude Opus 4.6 improve things slightly, say by 5%, you're still looking at a failure rate above 90%. Maybe when these numbers reach 20 to 30%, then it's a real conversation. So where did AI mess up? The paper points to 4 main problem areas. First, sometimes the AI would generate completely broken outputs, like corrupt or empty files or stuff in formats that were just unusable. Second, it often submitted incomplete work. That could mean missing parts, cut off videos, or not including required assets. For example, delivering an 8-second clip when the task clearly asked for an 8-minute video. Third, even when the AI did finish the task, the quality was often bad. The results just didn't meet professional standards and weren't really usable. And finally, there were consistency issues. Things wouldn't match up, like a house looking different from one 3D view to another, or floor plans not lining up with the original sketches. For years, we've been told that AI is going to take over jobs everywhere. But the reality is, we're not even close to that yet, at least not right now. Then why are companies rushing to replace people with AI? CEOs are worried they aren't spending enough money on AI while paying their actual workers the bare minimum. Companies sack half the workforce, while the other half is pressured into doing the job of 2 people for the same wages. That's the AI effect, and if you're burnt out, they will fire you. And so far, the companies that actually did lay people off to replace them with AI have rehired everyone a few weeks later. 9 months ago, Microsoft was bragging that 30% of its code was written by AI. Fast forward to today, and they're dealing with some of the worst software issues in their history. I think saying AI will replace all jobs is like saying the calculator will replace mathematicians. I'm not saying AI is useless. It's a powerful time-saving tool, but it's not a replacement. Feels like the market might be overrating what it can do in the near term. Even Andrew Ng says AI is overhyped, and CS degrees will remain valuable for decades. I think the real result here isn't the low scores, it's the speed of improvement. We went from just 0.8% to 3.7% in less than a year. And even within that small slice of success, there are clear areas where AI is actually working. Things like ad and logo creation, report writing, and generating simple code for interactive data visualizations. And yeah, you probably guessed it. Getting pretty decent at pumping out those AI slop videos. Just look at tools like Kling 3 or VO 3.1.
You know why I stopped you? All right, keep those paws right there. Hey, what's that on the seat? That catnip yours? Yeah, I can smell it from here. Listen, you're not... Hey, don't... Wait! Stay put! Come on, stop the car!
Bases loaded, 2 outs. Genghis Khan at the plate. Here comes the pitch. Swung on, drilled! Deep left field! Way back there! It is gone! A walk-off grand slam! Genghis Khan...
88. Shh, I'm the tooth fairy. I'm a little fairy. I'm a little fairy.
You've seen the results. Now take a look at what this guy is saying.
We're fooled into thinking those machines are intelligent because they can manipulate language. And we're used to the fact that people who can manipulate language very well are implicitly smart. But we're being fooled. Now, they're useful. There's no question. There are great tools, like, computers have been for the last 5 decades. But let me make an interesting historical point, and this is maybe due to my age. There's been generation after generation of AI scientists since the 1950s claiming that the technique that they just discovered was going to be the ticket for human-level intelligence. You see declarations of Marvin Minsky, Newell and Simon, Frank Rosenblatt, who invented the perceptron, the first learning machine in the 1950s, saying like, within 10 years, we'll have machines that are as smart as humans. They were all wrong. This generation with LLM is also wrong. I've seen 3 of those generations in my lifetime, okay? So, it's just another example of being fooled.
That's Yann LeCun, the creator of convolutional neural networks, and he's been pretty vocal about this. He believes the current AI approach is starting to hit its limits. According to him, just throwing more data and more compute at the problem isn't going to magically fix everything. And honestly, that's kind of what the early data is showing. This is what people call the scaling problem. So achieving AGI with the current transformer-based architectures, like the ones behind ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, looks increasingly unlikely, no matter how many billions are poured into compute. But in March of this year, several researchers introduced new architectures that are already starting to outperform transformers in terms of efficiency and speed. But that's a topic for another episode. So with companies pushing hard on continual learning, along with other techniques, and massive amounts of compute coming online, the next 1 to 2 years are going to be very interesting. Let's see if this video ages well.